Joining us now to talk about the effects in Macomb County is Executive Mark Hackle, along with Carolyn.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Hackle, for joining us tonight. I mean, this is big business for Macomb County. How much do you stand to lose if these cuts go through on Friday?
Well, that's the big if. In other words, I don't think anybody really knows the extent of it, and a lot of the companies, businesses, large and small in Macomb County, are very concerned about this. There are over 600 companies in Macomb County that do defense-related work, and if you think over the past decade, we've had over 10,000 contracts awarded to Macomb County, totaling about $26 billion over the last 10 years.
So
huge impact.
So this would really hurt.
Oh, absolutely, no question about it.
We have on the phone right now Congresswoman Candace Miller. And Congresswoman, first of all, we've been hearing today Democrats are blaming Republicans for stalling this, but I also heard Republicans say that the effects and the threats are overblown.
Well, look, I would tell you this, Stephen. I've been in Congress for 10 years. This is the first time that we have ever actually cut spending in 10 years. Conversely, you know, if you think about Macomb County, and my good friend Mark is on, actually in the last 5 years in Macomb County, they've had about a 25% cut of their expenditures just to maintain a balanced budget. These sequesters that we're talking about are only 2% of all the federal spending. So believe me, I'm very empathetic. I have sympathy for anybody that's getting cut. And in regards to the defense corridor, believe me, I understand how important they are. I helped start the defense corridor in Macomb County, have worked very hard to help build it up. But we are at a time when everybody else has been cutting, the state, the counties, the locals. The federal government has actually been increasing with economic stimulus, et cetera. We now have a $16 trillion debt. So,
Congressman, I was going to ask Mr. Hackle then, does she have a point?
Oh, she absolutely has a point, and I got to give her a lot of credit because Candace Miller is very parochial when it comes to Macomb County and the state of Michigan, along with the Levins, and they have been very instrumental in helping build that defense industry in Macomb County and saving Selfridge Air Base. So I know those that are working on behalf of Michigan are there with our utmost, I guess, concerns or needs at hand, and we get that. And she's absolutely right about the cuts. I mean, at the local levels, the county actually has been about a 40% cut that we've had to make in our budget. So they need to figure out how to make these cuts do this, because the uncertainty is what's really causing us a lot of problems.
Still,
that in and of itself is a problem.
I mean, what do you say to lawmakers, though? They could work together better. I mean, don't you think they could come up with a solution by Friday, or maybe not?
Well, again, you're always going to have that, concern. Is it, somebody's fault? Is it someone? Was it Congress? Is it the president? Is it the Democrat, Republican? Really, the uncertainty, and this has been happening over the past 2 years, has caused us a lot of concern, because that in and of itself has caused for people not to want to spend money, for businesses not to want to invest. So uncertainty is not a good thing. There needs to be more, I guess, definitive natures or things that are coming out of Washington as opposed to this.
Congresswoman Miller, then, Mr. Hackle's asking for certainty. Can you offer some?
I would say this. It's pretty certain that the sequestration is going to happen on Friday. Now, what we need to do is make sure we give maximum flexibility to all of the agencies so that they can work to make sure that they fund the needed programs and root out some of the waste that is there. Because otherwise, if we do not have the political will to ever cut any type of federal spending, we're either going to have to raise taxes so that government can continue to grow, or we're just going to keep borrowing more money from countries like China. We're borrowing right now 42 cents on every dollar that we spend. And I would also say, in regards to this sequestration, Michigan, as I think I mentioned this, is one of the least impacted states. I think we're the second from the bottom of impacted states. Of course, I'm out here in Washington, D.C., where you have about 30% of the workforce works for the federal government. So they are in total, they have a lot of consternation about this, and I am appreciative of that. But look, we have got to have some political will to make some federal spending cuts. I hope we can do it not with a meat axe,
right,
but that we can prioritize our spending. But we have to have that political will. You just can't immorally, I think it's immoral, that we keep putting this debt on our children and our grandchildren. Certainly we can find 2% cut in the federal budget.
Congresswoman, thank you so much. We are out of time. We appreciate you coming in, though.
Mr. Hackle, we hope the best that something happens fast, but we understand your concerns.
Yeah, whatever the cuts are, we're going to have to deal with them. We just need to know, and so we can move forward.
Yeah, and hopefully the elderly and the children and education won't be hit too hard.